Dave Thompson is worried, but perhaps not as worried as some of his colleagues in the pub trade. He has locked his energy bills in for another year, but he knows many who haven't and who are now facing a big jump in costs. He says whoever becomes Prime Minister must move fast.
I think it's vital that they grip this straight away. The pubs that are looking at renewals of gas and electric, they as soon as you see what it's going to cost to trade, you wouldn't bother. You'd close the door, apologise to the staff, and call it a day.
In the pub garden, we found Angie and her friend Gilly. Angie would rather Boris Johnson was staying, but since he isn't...
I would choose Liz Truss.
Why?
Because we haven't had a major lady running it since Margaret Thatcher.
What about Theresa May? She's your local MP here.
Yeah, but she was only brief.
OK.
She wasn't long enough.
So you like the idea of...
Try longevity with a lady and see what happens like Margaret.
From what you've seen of Rishi Sunak, would you think...
I think he'd be the best bet, hopefully, to get this country up and running and, you know, to do something about the cost of living and the way this country is going.
Today, a study's been published which each year calculates how much people need to earn to live what's considered a life of basic dignity. It says a single adult working full-time on the minimum wage would need to earn £25,500 to ensure that. Instead, he or she will fall short at around £18,600. And a couple with 2 children would need to earn £43,400. But working on the minimum wage, they would also come up short at about £37,200.
But next year we're looking at a real catastrophe of rising prices while incomes aren't yet rising, and we're going to really need to look at how we can bridge that gap so that people aren't going without essentials and can live their lives with dignity.
The man who is Chancellor, at least for the next few days, says whoever comes in, he has worked up plans to provide more help.
Those families that really have no headroom will need more help, more assistance. Many businesses, I am very concerned of the scarring effect on businesses, because if you've seen, if you're in the hospitality sector or high energy usage sector, and your energy bill has gone up by 3.5, 4 times, if those businesses are impacted and go out of business, the scarring effect in the long term on the economy will be deeply damaging.
The 2 candidates must wait just a little longer to know the result of this contest. But they already know the challenges that await the winner.
Well, Andy joins us live now from Downing Street. And Andy, signs of change behind you.
That's right, Danny. Have a look at this. I'm told that this removals van has been here pretty much all day. Now, I assume it's not someone feeling confident enough to feel they can be moving in at this point, but certainly we know that someone is going to be moving out. Boris Johnson and his family will be moving out of Downing Street. But Boris Johnson still faces another challenge. You may remember back in April, MPs voted that a committee should investigate whether Boris Johnson misled Parliament over so-called Partygate. If they do decide that he misled Parliament, it could be serious. He could face suspension from the Commons. He could even face a by-election. But today, legal advice has been published, legal advice commissioned by the government, which says this whole process is flawed, and if indeed Boris Johnson is found to have misled Parliament, then this will have a chilling effect on anyone standing up in the Commons, MPs, ministers, maybe other prime ministers, because they will feel if they get something wrong, then they might be pursued in the same way. Supporters of the process say, no, that's not right, because it's always the case that if someone misleads Parliament, they can always come back the next day and put the record straight. So there really shouldn't be any kind of problem with this. But supporters of Boris Johnson say this just proves people are still out to get him. Now, it has been a bit of a row, it will continue, but we can say that that committee will continue to investigate and presumably at some point will decide whether Boris Johnson did indeed mislead Parliament.